Would you believe me if I said that you're 42% more likely to achieve your goals if you write them down? 42% more likely. Crazy enough, only 3% of the population have goals and only 1%. What's up, guys? Welcome to the Man Solution Podcast. I'm your host, Anthony Miranda, aka Man of Men. On this podcast, we discuss various topics related to self-improvement, breaking bad habits and thought patterns, and ultimately overcoming generational curses. If you're a man that's struggling to become the best version of yourself, then this podcast is for you. We appreciate your support, so don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share with someone who you also would think would find value in the kind of the discussions we're having here. This is episode 12 today, and today we'll be talking about goal setting and how without this very skill, you're essentially leaving your life on random. So we'll talk about what goal setting is, why it's important. I want to break down some types of goals based on time, some types of goals based on individual areas of your life, and then we can talk about how to actually set a goal that's going to set you up for success in actually achieving it. So let's start from the top. What is goal setting? Kind of obvious, right? The definition essentially is the process of identifying something that you wish to accomplish and establishing measurable goals and timeframes to do so. So it's two things. It's the process of identifying something you wish to accomplish. So that's one, you have something to aim for, but it's also paired with establishing measurable goals and timeframes to do so. So it's two key pieces. And this is why goal setting or goal accomplishing for most people is so difficult, because they're missing either both of these pieces or one of these pieces, right? So we'll talk about more about what that means. But let's touch on why exactly it's important. So goal setting is something every man needs to understand how to do effectively. If you plan on being successful in any area of your life. You see, most men have goals, but these goals are just thoughts. They're just ideas floating around in your head, which actually isn't a goal at all. It's just an idea. It's just a mere thought. It's not real yet. It doesn't exist necessarily. So the first step in setting a goal is actually just to write it down. Would you believe me if I said that you're 42% more likely to achieve your goals if you write them down? 42% more likely. Crazy enough, only 3% of the population have goals and only 1% write them down. This kind of explains why the 1% are the 1%, right? Or maybe it hints at it. You know, so let's talk about some different types of goals based on time. So I'm breaking this down into lifetime goals, long-term goals, short-term goals, and then stepping stone goals. So first we have lifetime goals. And I'm doing this just to get you all, this is essentially an opportunity for us to brainstorm. This is an opportunity for us to think differently about how we're deciding to live our lives and what we're deciding to strive for. Because I'm sure most of you all aren't having these kind of conversations individually. So when we talk about lifetime goals, this is essentially your the vision that you have for your life. This is essentially who you see yourself becoming over the duration of your life. It's really big picture. So you come to this vision by asking questions like, what has this future version of yourself accomplished? Are they happy with the things they have? Are you single? Do you have a family? What does that version of you have? What have they achieved? Are they wealthy? Are they just comfortable? What would be talked about at that future version of yourselves' funeral? What would their friends and family say? I'd also add that your lifetime goals happen when they are perfectly aligned with what you value in life. And I know we've talked about values. So this is super big picture. This is like the ultimate aim for when you, let's say, when you're on your deathbed and you look back, you get to see everything in retrospect. And we should have some sort of idea of what we want that to look like. We don't want that to be at random. And without this ultimate overarching vision, then you just ensure that the life that you create is random. It's spontaneous. It's just essentially you pressing shuffle. Your overall life has no direction. So how can you ever look back one day and feel accomplished? How can you ever look back one day and truly feel the sense of accomplishment, the sense of joy in knowing that you've conquered what you've set out to do? That's important as men that we have that sense of direction. Now, when you have your overarching lifetime goal, this is usually segmented into a few long-term goals, right? So these are like your workhorse goals. These are those goals that typically take anywhere from 5, 10 years to accomplish. So this could be, hey, I want to, run a business, build this business at X amount of revenue in 5 to 10 years. Hey, I want to have, X amount of children within the next 5, 10 years. Or in the next 5, 10 years, I want to live here in this kind of house, making this amount of money in 5 to 10 years, right? These are those goals that, although seem a bit far out there, they're a bit more shorter in duration than your overarching lifetime goal. And it's these smaller long-term ones that, of course, make up the entire big picture. These are big pieces to the puzzle. Now, of course, if we continue to get more marginalized and continue down this path, next we have short-term goals, right? So these can be anywhere from 6 months, a month, maybe even a year. And these are those stepping stone, basically, kind of goals that are going to ultimately accomplish that long term goal of yours, right? So if, let's say, you're looking at building a business and bringing it to $5 million in revenue in the next 10 years, that's the long term goal. Okay. Short term goal, within the next 6 months, well, I need to come up with some sort of idea and get the right product market fit. I need to write a good go to market strategy. Once I get that in order, let's hit the market, start selling. Within the next, 6 months to a year, I want to be at, let's say, $1 million in revenue. So that's the first building block that's going to set you up for success in accomplishing that long-term 5-year goal. Right? So you see how we're working backwards here? We're working backwards. This is why it's so important to cast that grander vision, because then you can chunk down piece by piece, and actually give yourself smaller, more attainable things to strive for. Because if we just sat here and thought about our lifetime goal, our grand vision, it's like, okay, how the hell do I do that? That almost seems unattainable with where I'm at right now, with what I'm doing right now. I feel so overwhelmed, I don't even know what the best next step is. So it's crucial that we can break our goals down and work backwards. And we'll do this with some numbers later. So then the last, I should say the smallest subset here would be the stepping stone goals. These are more transactional. These are very action based. These are essentially the bricks that build those short-term goals. So if the short-term goal was $1 million in revenue in a year, some of the stepping stone goals would just be like the actual steps you have to take to set up let's say you set up your LLC, file for a Dun and Bradstreet number, open up a business account, all the essentially back office, the logistical things. Those are small, essentially almost to-do list type goals that need to be accomplished, or should be accomplished in order for you to set yourself up for success to hit that short-term goal. Make sense? So, again, lifetime, long-term, short-term, and then stepping stone. So now you all can think about that and say, all right, what is my lifetime goal? What's my lifetime vision? Now, what are the 3 to 5 large goals that I should or could accomplish within that time frame to ensure that I'm closer to that ultimate vision for myself? All right, now I have those 3 to 5 long-term goals. Now, inside of each long-term goal, what are some of those short-term goals that I need to accomplish in order for that to be true? Now let's break down the short-term goals and decide what the stepping stone goals are as well. Now, of course, this isn't going to be something that you sit down for 20 minutes and you have this all accomplished. It'll take time. It'll take time. It'll take focus. It'll take effort. It's going to take a lot of work because you have to pull these thoughts out of yourself, and you truly have to do a lot of soul searching and digging, and it takes energy to paint this picture of the future. You have to be very intentional with what you want your life to look like. It takes effort. It's going to take a lot of effort, especially when, for some people, I would say most people either live too far in the visionary state where they're just doing a whole lot of thinking big picture. And then another group of people are on the other extreme where they don't do enough of the casting the vision and thinking big picture. And they're very focused on what's right in front of me right now. I am the person that tends to get sucked into right now. What's the most important task that's going to move the needle today? And sometimes I tend to lose sight of the bigger picture. So I really have to pick my head up and look and cast that vision. And it takes effort. So not sure what side of the aisle you see yourself on. I'm sure that resonates with some of you, but it's important that we have both, right? If we think about that definition I read, right? Goal setting is the process of identifying something that you wish to accomplish, the vision, and establishing measurable goals and timeframes to do so, the action items. Vision, action items. It's with both that you truly ensure you have the best success at accomplishing your goals. So those were goals based on time. Now I want to break down goals based on areas of life. Now, some of these are going to seem incredibly obvious. I'm sure everything that I'm going over is pretty fucking obvious. But again, the idea is that we're going over this stuff because it is simple, and it's going to help you all get to brainstorming. It's going to help you all get to thinking about this stuff. It's going to get some gears moving, right? So I've broken this down into career goals, financial, personal development, spiritual goals, educational goals, relationship goals, and lastly, physical and health goals. So let's start at the top. When we think of career goals, this is what most people think of when they think of goal setting activities, right? We often view like a great career as the pinnacle of success. So that may be getting a promotion, improving job performance, learning a new skill related to your career, maybe looking for a career change. Maybe it's starting your own business, or it could be even creating a side hustle for extra money, right? All these things are reasonable goals. I'm sure some of you have accomplished things like this. Some of you may be working towards things like this, and maybe you're not. Maybe you're not sure what to strive for, and these things can be great ideas for you. But now maybe you have some ideas, and now you have something to work with, right? So those are examples of some career goals. Let's talk financial. So, of course, this is usually a pretty popular goal choice, if not someone's default. It's common to want to make more money and plan on how to do that. But of course, to reach those goals, you need to budget, adjust your spending habits, um, save money, make right investments, strategize on how to make more money. So, some goals can be saving for retirement, buying a home, paying off loans, affording any type of large purchase, whatever it may be. Maybe it's a trip, maybe it's a car, maybe it's some sort of gift. I don't know. Maybe it's creating an emergency fund. Maybe you want to get completely out of debt. These are just some options. These are some ideas of what financial goals look like. So then we have personal development. So personal development goals are goals that are about making you a better person. This is not a judgment. For example, I'm not saying that if you only speak a single language, there's something wrong with you, even though I only speak a single language and I think something's wrong with me. However, learning new things, eventually it just leads to improvement. So in this example, if you learn a new language, well, you just increase your cultural knowledge, you increase your ability to communicate, you've developed personally, right? Other ideas, maybe writing a book or reading a book, learning to maybe speed read or just read more efficiently or effectively, learning any type of new skill, whatever the skill is, coding, copyright, I would say web design, but maybe using Chat GPT to design websites, finding a mentor, um, creating some sort of blog or online course. Maybe you want to improve your body language and your confidence. Maybe it's starting a morning routine or having a better attitude, or maybe even traveling to some specific destination. Um, all things you can do to work on the overall development of you, of yourself, of your character, right? All fair goals. Then we have spiritual, right? So now we're thinking about what we can do for our spirit. What can we do to bring authentic joy in our lives? These can be religious goals for whatever religion you practice. They can be goals that help you contribute to society. Any goals Essentially any goals that are that are about more than yourself, right? Maybe you're volunteering. Maybe that's a goal of yours, to volunteer regularly, or maybe it's to go to church regularly. Maybe it's to become a church leader or be more mindful, or mentor someone. Maybe it's to meditate daily or donate more money to the less fortunate. or maybe start a prayer group or join one, right? All options on how to truly give, how to care about things more than yourself to bring more joy to your life. All types of different spiritual goals here. And we have educational, right? That's kind of obvious. Maybe it's a degree. Maybe it's pursuing some sort of, it doesn't necessarily have to be like formal education. Sometimes it can tie back to personal development in your career. Maybe you're just pursuing another skill or trade or skill within inside of your trade, right? That's educational. I want to go take this course. I want to go take this class to get better at this specific type of skill, because then it carries over into my career, which carries over into my finances, which gives me more resources to spend on some of the personal development goals that I have, right? So you see how it all ties in together essentially. Then we have relationship goals, right? Maybe that's leaving stress at work when you come home. Maybe it's dedicating alone time with your child or your spouse. Maybe it's getting more free time for yourself or increasing family time. Maybe it's having children. Maybe it's getting married. A lot of options. But of course, it's all geared towards creating stronger relationships in your life. Awesome goal to have. And then we have physical and health goals. Lastly, I know we already talked about exercise and the importance of physical health, but maybe some of the physical goals you have are just staying fit and active overall, having some sort of regular exercise routine. Maybe it's achieving some sort of massive physical fitness goal, like gaining 10 pounds of muscle or running a marathon or even a half marathon. Um, Maybe it's just keeping your immune system at peak condition or just having the energy to get more done in the day. Or maybe it's just, longevity. You want to live in your 90s and be out there running and biking and staying active, later on in your late years. All fair goals. But again, the goal to with this is to get you all thinking. I just want to get you all thinking. I just want to give you all some very basic ideas. And the intention here is that hopefully you pick one. Hopefully, if you're not working on these things now, I want you to pick one. Just pick one at random. Pick one that maybe it's not necessarily aligned with what you're looking for right now, but what is? What is that which you are looking for right now? Pick that goal and start working on it. Just start today. Before you start, I want to talk about, lastly here, wrapping up, I want to cover on how to actually set a goal that is going to set you up for success to actually accomplish it. Now, I'm going to cover something that you probably all have heard in like middle school and probably high school, and you probably heard about it at work, but I'm just here to throw it in your face again because it works. It's valuable. And that concept is SMART goals. For those of you who don't know, SMART is an acronym, and it's a framework to follow that's going to ensure that you set more attainable, trackable, and concrete goals. So the S in SMART stands for specific. We want to make sure that the goal is clear as written. M is for measurable. Making sure that any metric requirement in the goal is clearly defined and has specific numbers attached to it. A is for achievable, meaning that the goal can be accomplished and is not some crazy pie in the sky dream like, tripling your salary in 3 months or losing 50 pounds in a week. It's actually achievable. The R stands for relevant, and this just means that the goal really matters and is worth your time and effort. And then T is time bound. So this means you know where the goal starts and stops and any steps along the way, and it's all tied to specific dates. So again, SMART. We have S, specific, M, measurable, A, achievable, R, relevant, and T, time bound. So, for example, let's say you just set a goal of making more money. Of course, we all want to make money, but how much money? How much money by when? Making more money is vague. It's not precise. It leaves too much room for error. It leaves too much room for interpretation. And you'll never know if you accomplished it because you don't know how much money or by when you need this money. So, if we were to kind of reframe this goal using the SMART framework, okay, let's get specific, measurable, achievable. Of course, making money is always more relevant. And then time bound, right? Let's put a date on it. So making more money becomes I want to make $3,000 from my side hustle in the next 90 days. That's specific. It's measurable. I have an actual unit of measure, $3,000. It's achievable. Of course, it's relevant and it's time bound. This needs to happen in the next 90 days. Now, if we take this goal of making $3,000 in the next quarter, 90 days, and we use the frameworks we've been following this entire conversation, then of course we need to work backwards and actually chunk down. So if we break this into smaller segments, then we need to give ourselves those stepping stone goals to accomplish this short-term goal. So if we have the $3,000 quarterly goal and we break that down into 3 months, well, then we have a stepping stone goal of making $1,000 a month. If we break that down by the weeks in the month, then that tells us we have to make $250 a week in order to hit our $1,000 a month goal, in order to hit our $3,000 a quarter goal. $3,000, $1,000 a month, $250 a week. And if we continue to break that down, we have $35 a day. So now I've taken my big picture 90-day $3,000 goal and I've broken it all the way down so I know every single day I need to make $35. Now, what sounds easier to accomplish? $35 a day or $3,000 in 3 months? Of course, who you are is going to determine how you feel about that question. I'm sure some of you are very confident you can make $3,000 in 90 days. This is just an example to show the math. So, we're thinking about that. So now I have something more tangible to chew on. $35 a day. That gives me something to work towards every day. So let's say we have some sort of side hustle or business and we're working towards it. Now we can start thinking about how much your services, whatever, if you have a business, how much your services cost. How much do you make from helping a client? How much do you profit off of selling, one product, one item? So now we can take those numbers and reverse engineer them. And I know, okay, if my average sale is $300, let's just say, well, that tells me I need to make 3.3 sales per month to hit my $1,000 month. Now I have actual numbers and KPIs or key performance indicators to hit to ensure that I stay on pace and I stay on track to hit my quarterly goal of $3,000. Any successful business is running this way. They know their daily, their weekly, their monthly, their quarterly numbers. They have their annual reports. They have their 3-year goals. They have their 10-year, plans. And they take this data to their board meetings. They update the board members on the status of the company. If the numbers are bad or trending down, then that tells us something. That's a warning sign, right? The numbers are good. The board approves new projects. They approve funding. The question is, why don't we look at our own life this way? why don't we look at our life with the same amount of accountability? Why don't we understand that we are our own board members in a way? We are our own counsel as men. And this is part of why I'm building this community here. We need to know that we have each other. We need to know that we can hold each other accountable and be each other's counsel and ensure that we hold each other accountable in accomplishing our individual goals. Because if we do that individually, then we all win in society. So, again, we touched on what goal setting is, why it's important. We broke down some types of goals based on time, some types of goals based on different areas of your life. And then we walked through SMART goals and how to actually set a goal that is not only worth achieving, but is very likely that you accomplish it. Well, because you set yourself up for success in the right way by using a specific framework that's tiered towards making you more likely to accomplish it. So that's all I have for today. Hope you all enjoyed. Again, if you find value, share it with someone you think would find value as well. If you use this framework to work on some goals for yourself, send me a DM, put a comment down below. Let me know what some of your goals are, and we can hold each other accountable in accomplishing them. All right, man. See you on the next podcast. Peace out.